right, and the Standard, I think, has the most apt headline for this. Game of numbers. That's a big headline on the front page. And today it's a very busy front pages. This one has faces of so many different people and the numbers they claim or they are assumed to be having. Rigathi Gachagua, Mount Kenya, Block 5.7. Yeah. Kuna wengine Nairobi County, 2.4 million. 2.2 million Western. Nyanza, 3.1 million. Eastern Block, 1.7 million. North Rift, 2.36 million. Coast, 2.2 million. Yes. Road to general election, this is what the Standard calls it. 50% plus one. President William Ruto squeaked past the 50% plus one threshold in 2022 with 50.5% of the vote, drawing more than 3.5 million of his 7.1 million votes from Mount Kenya. But his grip on the mountain has since loosened, with his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua tightening his hold on the region after their bitter political divorce. Now, Ruto's UDA is now at the negotiating table with ODM, crunching the numbers for a second-term bid as opposition leaders race to unite and wrestle him from power amid criticism over corruption and poor governance. With 1 year to the 2027 general election, alliances are shifting, the numbers are being crunched, and the stakes could not be higher. Yesterday, we saw the Daily Nation do something similar, an extensive coverage on 10 different pages. Today, it's the Standard stand. They do it on page 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Wamewapiga. Nafikisha 12 pages of the countdown to the next election. Let's just look at some of the angles they've been following. On the front page, they look at the numbers. Kulendani, page 3, Ruto called out over wanton spending during State House visits. Goons threaten credible polls. The numbers games, yes, that the focus on how the numbers will play out. Sahi kila mtu anatoka na calculator. The 13th Parliament grabs House of Corruption title. I like that one. Sababu ni ukweli. 1 year to the polls, IEBC battles leadership gaps, a finding crutch. You know, yesterday, the IEBC was supposed to appear on our show. But none of the commissioners was available, neither were the members of the secretariat. So we were just talking about IEBC in absentia. Yeah, very unfortunate. They are not doing media now. Okay.
That's what they said.
Okay.
That's
you will do media.
You will do it, whether you like it or not.
From AI to Boma Stali, the court battles that could put polls in limbo. That's about issues to do with live streaming and the use of AI, which is very interesting. Selective justice, a year to poll, war on incitement seems biased. It's another discussion. Ruto's healthcare for all promise remains elusive for as election nears. Nani nyingi. 2/3 rule is another big discussion. Will 2027 finally be the year? And they have very beautiful photos of so many different women in leadership, women in politics. Yeah. Ruto Oburu turn up heat as UDA and ODM hunt for 2027 polls. Yeah. And I'm telling you, apart from all this political story, the only other story is a court has detained an officer and a rider and as well as a driver linked to Mutiso's death. That murder that we've been following for weeks now. That's the only other story that the Standard has focused on the front pages. Back page, Matter Sports. It's now to prayers after Nairobi bids to host World Athletics event. And Nairobi has officially entered the race to stage the 2029 World Athletics Championships after Athletics Kenya submitted the country's formal bid to host the global showpiece. That's the biggest story in as far as sports is concerned. FIFA President Gianni Infantino also finds himself on the back page of the Standard today. What next for beleaguered FIFA president? And that's the Standard.
All right, tuangalie Taifa Leo, lazima tushinde. That's the main headline here, that Rais William Ruto na kinara wa ODM Daktari Oburu Oginga jana walibuni kamati ya watu 5 kutoka kila upande ili kuibuka na manifesto ambayo atatumia kujivumisha kuelekea uchaguzi wa mwaka 2027. Wawili hao jana waliwaambia viongozi wa serikali jumuishi hawana hiari ila tu kushinda uchaguzi mkuu. Habari kamili katika ukurasa wa 2. Wanasema kwamba Rais Ruto akisisitiza kuwa ni vigumu kuwazia uwezekano wa UDA na ODM kushindwa mwaka 2027. You know what Party Leader Oburu Odinga said?
Yes.
We are damn serious. We are damn serious about winning this.
Damn serious.
We are damn serious.
Bagni ya nini?
Party leader is overworking. That story is on page 2. Vidokezo zaidi, they also make mention of that case, Victoria Mutisa's case. Magenge ya kisiasa yatishia kura ya mwaka ujao. Wadadisi na wataalamu wa usalama waonyo kuwa vijana wasio na ajira huenda watumiwe na wanasiasa kuchochea vurugu wakati wa kampeni. Gavana Godhana aidhinishwa kuongoza FPKA. Chama hicho cha Pwani kinalenga kuunganisha wakazi wa kaunti zote 6 ili kuzungumza kwa sauti moja kuhusu maslahi yao. Kule juu, Mudavadi na Weta wasema Sifuna hatoshi. Mkuu huyo wa mawaziri alidai ni kibarua kwa Sifuna kupata 25% ya kura kaunti 24. Sasa hiyo tu yenye Sifuna anafanya ni kama wanaona haitoshi.
Nani huyo anasema hivyo?
Mudavadi.
Mbona anaogopa? Yeye amepata ngapi? Je, amewahi kupata kura ngapi? Mbona ana criticize mwenzake?
Letu jicho na Taifa Leo.
Let's move on to the Daily Nation. A very busy front page today. Decision 2027, so they focused on the meeting between Ruto, the UDA and ODM team in Naivasha. Ruto leads UDA, ODM must win election talks. Ya wamesema must win. Lazima tu washinde. Waspende.
They're damn serious.
Yeah, they're damn serious. But the story that appears even more prominent, and this has been covered previously, I think on the Standard or a different paper, is this person that keeps appearing at State House and other state houses or palaces across Africa. It's called Wicknell Chivayo. Yeah. They're calling him the president's man. Wicknell Chivayo, the flashy Zimbabwean tycoon who loves to display his proximity to power, has unfettered access to President Ruto, going by photographs of his private meetings with the head of state. But even by his own standards, Chivayo is gushing over his latest encounter with the president as their dalliance continues to raise eyebrows. The story covered on pages 4 and 5. What happened is that this Chivayo attended the Koito engagement ceremony. Charlene Ruto in Kilgoris.
Yeah.
Then the president personally drove him from the main event to where the chopper was. So akiwa kwa gari, president akimdrive, the president was attending to so many different visitors, but he found time to drive this Chivayo guy to where his chopper was. So the guy was just taking a selfie throughout. Oh, look, I'm here with the president, he's driving. Oh. Even him is starstruck, and people are wondering, okay, fine, you've taken so many photos with the president.
Yeah.
Now, what is the big deal that he's driving you?
You know, maybe on Saturday, I've seen this argument that people are saying on Saturday he wasn't the president, he was a father-in-law.
And he was entertaining everyone.
Yes.
But this person has been at State House. In fact, what has happened on page 4 and 5 is they've shared so many different photos, at least 2 other photos of this gentleman at State House, Nairobi. Yeah? So they say this Zimbabwean tycoon has unfettered access to the president. Yeah. Billionaire flaunts presidential meetings and a private ride as questions grow over his business interests and controversial past. Watu wanauliza huyu kazi yake exactly ni gani? Yeah, what does he do?
A billionaire.
Ile expansion ya airport.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying by media reports, ilisemekana one of his firms is linked to the new deal to expand the airport in Kenya. Whether it's true or not, led to jicho tu. The other story, how taxpayers lost 14 billion shillings in state Safaricom sale deal, on page 12, and head teachers in trouble for paying millions to lobby. So after launching their 1 year to elections coverage, the Daily Nation has focused on other stories. Dr. Mutiso Mada is one of them on page 2. I can see now after that story about President Ruto now, yes, Decision 2027. These are the headlines they're focusing on in as far as elections are concerned. Ruto rallies UDA ODM to unite for poll victory. Leaders renew unity push, mobilize for election showdown. Those are the United Opposition or United Alternative Government. Meanwhile, Kalonzo Matiang'i expose hard road to one opposition candidate. Yeah. Both back a joint candidate but differ on how the flag bearer should be picked as rival ambitions distrust persist. More headlines. Why gangs of the loose threaten credibility of next year's election. Highest bidder why 2027 poll could be battled for big money. And I heard somewhere that there's a lot of money. So Kenyans could make a lot of money. Kama wale wa Olkalau. walikuwa naingiza, nasikia walikalao, people did not have loose change. It was only 1,000 shilling notes.
Yes.
So nasikia we might continue like that. All right. So those are some of the main stories. On the back page, Sembeo, Kenya's unlikely world 1500 meters champion from Kajiado. They're talking about the 2026 World Athletics Under-20 Championship, where Kenya finished second overall with 11 medals, only second to the US, who played hosts. Ilikuwa Oregon, alipata 24 medals. But najua, the US participate in everything. They participate in swimming. Nini, mambo mingi. Sisi najua tu ni kutoka mbio.
You participate in everything is actually a good thing.
It is. So we should be participating. But at least we still came second. Out of 42 countries that took part, yeah, we are way ahead. The next African country after Kenya is Ethiopia, which came sixth with 6 medals. We had 11. Congratulations to Team Kenya. That's the Daily Nation.
Tuangalie People Daily. The coalition that could beat Ruto. The story is on page 4. Inside the unlikely alliance reshaping Kenya's 2027 presidential race. On the front page, yeah, it's a game of chess here, and we have everyone who would most likely contest for the presidential seat. I see Justin Muturi here. That's a first. So there's Justin Muturi, there's Kalonzo Musyoka, there's Fred Matiang'i, Edwin Sifuna, Eugene Wamalwa, Rigathi Gachagua, and PLP party leader Martha Karua. They say an unlikely political coalition bringing together key opposition figures is threatening President William Ruto's 2027 re-election bid. Despite disagreements that have rocked the opposition in recent past, analysts believe figures like DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua, Wiper Patriotic Front boss Kalonzo Musyoka, and Jubilee presidential candidate Fred Matiang'i pose a major challenge to Ruto's ambition to secure another term in office. That story is on page 4. You can grab a copy of the People Daily today on Play Store and read more about it. The battle for Mount Kenya, the two political heavyweights fighting for control of Kenya's most coveted voting bloc. That is also on page 8. And the brokers behind 2027, the powerful deal makers shaping Kenya's next political battle. That story is on page 3. Let's see who they are. Parallel state, their names do not dominate campaign posters and their faces may not appear on party manifestos, but when politicians begin assembling coalition, these are often the people they call first, including incumbent and former politicians, businessmen. But I was thinking they're going to mention former CS Moses Kuria. He's at the center of this anyway, so I think he's one of them.
Moses Kuria has become an analyst. Crazy to analyze, oh, this is what I think. I don't know if he's running for any political office. He's just analyzing who will probably run, how it will play out. Yeah. I've been busy on TV stations, I've seen him.
That's the People Daily, people and politics.
All right, let's move on to the Star. Today being a Tuesday. The Star has nothing political on the front page. Yeah. They're talking about Hustler Fund hitting new 28 million borrower mark in 4 years. Of total loan amount, 98% is deposited into loanees' mobile wallets. Yeah, so Hustler Fund milestones, when it was registered, how many registered members it has, how many been loaned daily. This is the main story here on the front page. Other quick highlights: MPs reject MCA's battle for hefty pension scheme. That's on page 7. How motherhood changed their lives, not career dreams. It talks about mothers who opted to focus on raising their children. More than half of prisoners battling scabies infection. That's a story on page 9. So if at all you're planning to become a guest of the state, ujue kuna shida ya scabies. Wacha tu ile umezoea ati sijui utakuwa you'll belong to who. Scabies pia inakuja with that. Pale juu, hope for Kilifi cancer patients after county opens chemo center. And the only political headline here is talking about why presidential ticket is turning into a powder keg. But it's on page 6. So Hustler Fund hitting 28 million shillings borrower mark in 4 years. That's a record. And that's the main story on the Star this Tuesday. Remember, being Tuesday, it's not for sale. And you can grab yourself a copy of this paper for absolutely nothing. Fresh independent, different. It comes with a complimentary MyGov pull-out for government jobs and tenders. That's a star.
All right. Dangote's 1.45 trillion shillings debt for Lamu Oil Refinery. That's the Business Daily. That Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, will rely heavily on debt to finance the proposed multi-billion shillings oil refinery in Lamu, with construction of the project expected to begin by October this year. So Mr. Dangote disclosed that 70% of the estimated 2 trillion shillings projected will be financed through debt, replicating the highly leveraged funding model commonly used for large infrastructure projects. So the remaining 30% will be financed through equity. So what this means is that lenders will provide roughly 1.45 trillion, and shareholders, including Mr. Dangote and of course other investors, will inject about 621 billion shillings. That story is on page 2. It's very interesting. Inakuhusu pia wewe. Cyber cafes to give state users names and computer logs. That is a story on page 2, that according to new regulations published by the Communications Authority of Kenya, they demand that the internet shops issue receipts and keep the records for a minimum of 3 years, during which the regulator can request them for investigation. Kenya trails Rwanda, Burundi in open road transport on barriers. That's on the ticker. And 64 billion shillings edible palm oil investigation stalls. Right, so this is a parliamentary investigation into the possible loss of 64 billion shillings through misdeclared imports of edible palm oil. Business Daily.
All right, let's now cross our borders and take a look at what's big in Uganda. The Daily Monitor talks about how police tracked killers of footballer. Police officers from DCI and Directorate of Crime Intelligence and Flying Squad units tracked down the killers of Sports Club Villa captain David Owori to Kampala city slums and stolen phone markets across the city and neighboring Wakiso district. So it's a murder probe that they are following up. The other story, IGG pins parliament officials in 26 billion Ugandan money graft case. That's in Uganda. The New Vision, bado amelala. In Tanzania, The Citizen, ICD growth leaves Dar stuck in traffic. The rapid increase in the number of inland container depots in Dar es Salaam is fueling severe traffic congestion, with thousands of lorries overwhelming key corridors and forcing authorities to urgently rethink cargo storage, rail transport, and urban planning. You see now, unlike Nairobi, which is a capital city here, the main capital city in Dar es Salaam, away from the government seat in Dodoma, is Dar es Salaam, which is also the biggest port in that country. So you can imagine kama Mombasa ndio ingekuwa capital city. Na hiyo shida yote ya malori na nini, alafu hapo capital city. Shida tupu. Tundu Lissu, that trial about the Chadema leader. Lissu trial witness sparks legal tussle over tearing of battle papers claim. That's a big story there on the front page. The other paper is Mwananchi. Gazeti la Mwananchi, habari ambayo imepewa kipaumbele kwenye ukurasa wa mbele, polisi wadaiwa kuiba bunduki. Zimo zilizosalimishwa na waliokuwa wakizimiliki kinyume cha sheria na waliozihifadhi kituoni. Askari wawili mbaroni, Kamanda Msime akiri dosari utumizaji wa silaha za kiraia na uchunguzi wa anza. Ni habari tu ambayo hata hapa Kenya tushazoea. Kwingineko, shahidi Lissu walivyovutana tena kotini. Na picha ya Tundu Lissu pale amebeba kipochi. Bagi ni ya nini? Gazeti la Mwananchi kule Tanzania. Ndio hayo ndio magazeti ya humu nchini na kwenye kanda ya Afrika Mashariki. Turejelee nyumbani tuangazie karakacha. Leo tuna karakacha 3. Tuanze